Hello pretties, welcome to Abh Girl. So we have just the tiniest little bit left of sunlight outside and we gotta get through this video quickly. I cannot wait for daylight savings because honestly this is not working for me. The whole lighting, like sun going down by like 5:30 is not working. So we gotta get through this as quickly as possible. So I am needing to do my like top purchases and like bottom like more disappointing products of 2021, but if you guys remember, I was in a no buy for the first 6 months of the year, so I didn't really buy too much, and the things that I did buy, I was very careful with what I was buying, except for eyeshadow palettes. So yeah, there's that. There's some products that are a bit disappointing, but I didn't have enough to even do a full video from each one, so I decided to like combine them and do a top 5, bottom 5. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to start out with the things that are the most disappointed and make our way up to the best ones. That way it'll be a little more fun. So first things, I have this color corrector from LA Girl. By the way, FYI, these are not products that came out in 2021 because I honestly just didn't buy enough. So these are just products that I came into my collection in 2021. So I have this color corrector from LA Girl. This shit sucks ass. There's no other way for me to say it except for the fact that it just sucks ass. It's dark and very pigmented, but at the same time not pigmented enough. Where it's not pigmented enough to cover my dark circles, but it is so pigmented that my concealer won't cover it. And so I just have this like random super dark stain underneath my eye. And it's just not working. What sucks most about this product is I only just bought it a month ago and I'm gonna return it. I'm gonna return it because it hasn't been a month. I'm gonna return it. It's not even worth it. Okay, another product that I remember really liking, like when I first started getting into makeup, and now I cannot stand, and it's this one right here. So it's the Colourpop No Filter Concealer, and I have the shade Medium 22. I forgot how much it oxidized. I forgot how dry it was because I'm so used to now more hydrating products where this one's like now too dry. I forgot just how it like leaves little bumps in your eye, and at the time it used to be my holy grail concealer. I kept buying it and rebuying it and rebuying it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy it again. I used to really enjoy it, but I've just tried so many better concealers that now in comparison this sucks ass and I will not repurchase it again. So there's that. I have, this is technically not a purchase, but I was really struggling to get these 5 products, but I got the birthday set from Sephora and I got the NARS one, and I should have just gone with the Moroccan one was, but they were out of stock at my local Sephora, and I've gone to 2 Sephoras and they didn't have it in stock. And honestly, I just didn't want to go through the process of like getting it online and all that stuff. It just wasn't worth it. So I just got the NARS one, and in retrospect, I shouldn't have gone it because it's not cruelty free. The good thing is they're really small, so I should be able to get through them quickly. I'm just mad at myself that I even got it just because I didn't want to go through the extra effort. So there's that. Okay, it's starting to get really dark. I think I need to bring out some lights. I just know it's gonna reflect off my glasses, so I need to figure out how to work that out. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm back. Both of my dogs are here, so we shall see how this goes. But I think the lighting looks a lot better where it's not necessarily shining like right in my glasses. It's not reflecting, but it's still brighter. So I think, yeah, I feel good about this. Let me know how it feels in the, like, let me know in the comment section how you feel about it, and if I need to like readjust it moving forward. That way I can do that, but that way I can still film when it's darker, but it's not too overwhelming. Okay, so let's keep going. So I've mentioned the 2 concealers, or the color corrector, the concealer, and the NARS products. One that came to me as a surprise, but it's the Becca highlighter in the shade Opal. So as we all know, Becca came out saying that they were going out of business, and that was that. So I, like any other person who loves a specific product from Becca, bought a backup, and that was my problem. If I would have known that Becca, I was still going to be able to buy Becca highlighters through Smashbox, I would not have bought this highlighter. But what did I do? I buy this highlighter. So now I have 2 full-size highlighters of Opal, and it was not necessary. So this is Opal, the original, and I do have a really nice dip in it. It is my absolute favorite highlighter. I love this highlighter, cannot live without it, which is why I bought a backup. But if I would have known I would have done that. But of course, they didn't announce this until after Becca went out of business. And I was like, son of a bitch. Well, now I have 2. So now it's gonna be my goal to try to finish this up, because I need to finish this one now too. But I wasn't particularly focusing on this highlighter because I have other highlighters I wanted to focus on, but I have to. But yeah, disappointing product that I bought. Not the product itself, just how the whole thing went down. Really disappointing. One that I am still trying to form my mind about, and I could potentially change my mind about it. But currently as it stands, the Sigma Enchanted palette. So as y'all know, I love Kelly Gooch. I even made a whole video saying how I love Kelly Gooch and all the products I bought because of Kelly Gooch. It's so many. I literally have one of my longest videos I've ever made is that same concept. I'll leave a link if you want to check it out. So because I love Kelly, and I've heard a lot of people say how much they love the Sigma eyeshadow formula and how they really changed it in the last like 3 or 4 years. Okay, I'm like, okay, I have to try the Enchanted palette. I just have to. So I bought the Enchanted palette, and as well as a couple of brushes, because I already said how Sigma has the best brushes. I will say the brushes are really nice. And oh Jesus Christ. All right. Okay, not my day. So this is my thing. Okay, let's just talk about it. This shimmers, I know what I was expecting. I was expecting shimmers to be like super glittery, very sparkly, very pigmented, and like really give you a punch. That's not the case. That's not what we're getting. They're more subtle. You do have to like layer them quite a bit. The best way to use them, what I found, is to use a glitter primer underneath. I use a NYX one, and it really kind of like makes them pop. So that's what works for me. I'm like, okay, it's not perfect, but I can work with that. With the shimmers, not the big a deal. I can always put a primer in it, on like a looks like glitter primer underneath. No big deal. My biggest issue with this palette is the mattes. For starters, this Innocent shade, which I was super excited for because I think it's such a beautiful, like romantic, whimsical shade right here, is so light. I'm like really going at it, go to town, and this is what it looks like. And when I swatch it, it's like gone, just gone. It is so light, and again, I would need to brighten the lights more and move it around for you guys to really see it, but like, it's just gone. It's gone, and I just blended it a little bit, and now it's completely gone. It just blends right into my skin. Not really sure how that happens, but that shade is so light, I can't make it pop. The one thing I haven't tried doing with this specific shade, and I probably should have before I did this video, is to use this with my regular eyeshadow primer and not set it, like not set my eyeshadow primer, and just see how that goes. I haven't tried that yet. I have to, but it's so light. Also, this palette is surprisingly cool toned, which I wasn't expecting, but the shade right here alone, I'm gonna just grab it. See, it looks brown, and then I blend it into my skin and it starts looking gray. And I don't know how to explain that. It just looks great, and especially in my eyes, it looks very great. So what I found is that I have to go with a really light hand to not accentuate it too much, because if I put too much pigment in it, it will look ashy on me. And I'm a light to medium skin tone. I am not very dark, and this shade looks so ashy on me. So I can only imagine what it's gonna look like in people with deeper skin tones. It is very ashy. This shade also, it's not as bad. This one is Claystone, but it is very cool toned, and it doesn't always blend well in my olive skin tone. So that is honestly my biggest, like the biggest thing that I'm upset about with this palette, is that your two transition shades, one is too light for me, and the other one is ashy on me. I'm like, what the fuck? And then your most likely go-to brown shade is patchy on me, and it doesn't blend well in my skin tone. And I'm just like, man. And if you fuck up the mattes, you fuck up the palette. Excuse my French, but Jesus, that's really the hardest part. I found ways to use this darker brown. I really just have to pack on the color and then blend, because otherwise it will look patchy. But that's not something that I expect from a regular shadow palette to give me that kind of trouble. Like, that's something that I'm expecting from like a pigment, what's it called? Pressed pigment palette, not from this, you know? So it's a little disappointing. These two shades are fine matte wise, and you can't fuck up a cream color, so you know that's fine. And the green is fine. It was a bit patchy, just a little bit, and it's not necessarily as green as I would like it to be. It just come off a little, you see that? It has like a hint of green, but it looks more black more than anything, which is not my preference on a green. I do like more punchy green colors because I love the shade of green. So you know, it was a disappointment. Can I make it work? Yes. Do I want to make it work for a $49 palette? No, I want it to work for me. So that was a huge disappointment, just because it is an expensive palette. It's a high-end palette, and I was expecting more from it, because specifically the Sigma eyeshadow formula has been so hyped up, where I had all these really high expectations, and for $49, I don't want to work. I want it to work for me. I just disappointed. I will say I really enjoy the Metamorphosis and the Cosmos shadow shades. They're very pretty. My thing is, I'm more of a matte girl than I am a shimmery girl, and that was a hard pill to swallow, that the mattes just did not work for me, and specifically my skin tone. So that was very disappointed. And so those are the 5 products that I just did not. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I cheated a little bit on this next one. I have a little bit more than 5 products for my top 5, but I am very happy that I have more products that I really enjoyed. So I want to start out with the concealer from Milani. Kelly Gooch didn't do me wrong this time, and she was saying this is one of the most high coverage concealers, and she was truly right. This is a really high coverage concealer, where I always really go really heavy on my under eyes with my concealer, but I've actually learned to tone it down a little bit with this one, because I don't need to go as heavy. It is a little thicker, and it is a little drier. It definitely is a learning curve with it. What I found is I have to set it relatively quickly, although I'm a person that likes to leave my concealer for a moment, let it really set in so it gives me more coverage. So what I found is, if I blend the outsides and then leave the center untouched, like I get the extra coverage where I really need it, and then go in, it works a little bit better for me. It is a little thick. It does mix really well with other concealers, so if you have another more hydrating concealer you can put underneath, it'll work really well with it. Definitely wouldn't go with a really heavy powder. I use really lightweight powders. I use the HD, the Sheer HD from e.l.f. and the No. 7 lightening powder, the one that's comparable to the Charlotte Tilbury. So those are 2 powders I use, and they work really well with this. I can 100% see if you go with a heavy powder like a Cover FX, an Urban Decay one, or Laura Mercier, I can 100% see this getting too cakey really quickly. So just putting that out there. A little bit of finessing, but the coverage, the pigmentation, it's there. And it is affordable. There isn't a lot of product at 0.17. There isn't a lot of product, but because it is so full coverage, you don't need to use a lot of product, and so it will last longer. So there's that. In comparison, this one from Colourpop has, I believe, the same amount, yeah, 0.17, and I finished this one way before I finished this one. By the way, I did finish it. Oh, almost. I took out the stopper and everything, and there was like a little bit at the bottom, and I was like, fuck it, it's not worth it, because I just don't like it. So, but it lasts a long time. Like, I haven't even had to remove the stopper, and there's still plenty of product that comes out, so nothing there. Sorry. All right. There's like something in my nose. I definitely need to go blow my nose. So let's try to get through this quickly. I do have the palette from Odin's Eye and Judy. Judy's one of my favorite YouTubers that I follow. And look at this beauty. Isn't this pretty? I've never tried Odin's Eye before, and based on what I've tried with this formula, I would be interested in trying more from them. Very pretty. They do have an interesting formula with the shimmers where they're very greedy, so it's a little heavy. This one's more of a the shade right here is more of a topper, and so I do have a harder time with that one because it's harder to pick up on the finger. Haven't really tried it with the brush, but I like to touch my shimmers with my fingers and put them in my eye with my finger. But all the other shades super blend well. The mattes blend really well. They're very pigmented, so there's that. Yeah, I really enjoy that. All right, and when I bought that with Oil Inside, I also bought this lip tint. Sorry, it's supposed to be a lip oil. I wouldn't necessarily consider that. And it's supposed to be also like a tint. Sorry, it's a lip tint. I was right the first time. So it's supposed to like stain your lips. I don't find it to really stain it, and it is a little thicker than an oil, but it's really nice. It's really hydrating. It lasts pretty long time for what it is, and it's really easy to reapply, and I honestly really enjoy the packaging. It's really hefty and it's really big, and I mean it is a little bulky, but I personally like it, and it has a really pretty design, so I've actually really enjoyed this, and I bought them like set together, so really enjoying that. So there's that. Something that I tried for the first time very recently is this Moon Dusts. So it was my birthday in October, and Ulta gave me a $10 off coupon. So just $10. So I was trying to debate what to get with those $10, and I remember Kelly Gooch has always said how she really likes these Moon Dust shadows, specifically Space Cowboy. They did not have Space Cowboy, but they did have Lithium right here. Ooh, sorry about that. Shook everything. They did have Lithium, and honestly, it looks like a gunmetal shade. It has like a really pretty like duochrome shiftiness to it, and it's actually quite pigmented from what I was expecting, and bam, look at that. And it's normally $22, so it has a very sheer base, but it has those duochrome shimmers right there. Well, it's actually not clear, but it's pretty close to being clear. It's not too deep. So they had Lithium, and I was like, you know what, instead of paying $22 for a single shadow, I'm paying $12 for a single shadow. In my head, that makes me feel better. It's still a very expensive single shadow, but it makes me better. And honestly, I fell in love with it so much, I went back and ended up getting Solstice. I'm not interested in all of them, but Solstice was really pretty. So this is what Solstice looks like. It has like more purple, green, and pink shimmers. So see, very, very pretty. And I was like, you know what? I kind of really want Space Cowboy now. So I bought those. Absolutely wins. You can definitely like layer them on top of the shadows and completely transform the shadow that you put before and make it into a duochrome, or you can just put them as the main, you know, show of attraction depending on what mattes you layer underneath. And I can honestly say that if you put like a really light like transition shade and you just put this all over the eye, I can see your eyes like really popping. So these I'm taking with me to on vacation soon. So I'm gonna do a pack with me tomorrow to post that on Thursday, because we're leaving town on Thursday, and you're gonna see both of these are coming with me because I think they're gonna look really pretty in the lighting and everything. Just look at that shimmer. Oh my goodness, so pretty. And I really, really, really want Space Cowboy then. I don't think that all of the shades are pretty, like that pretty, but these two I really enjoyed, and I think Space Cowboy is really pretty. So if you had to choose like one or two from that collection, those two, I forgot to say which one this is, Solstice. So Solstice, Lithium, and Space Cowboy, top. Have to get it. All right, so the ABH Jackiana palette. I'm not gonna lie, this palette came out a long ass time ago, like a really long time ago. But I got it at the very, very end of 2020. Yes, because they were having a sale, and so I ordered this, and I think it came like a day or two before the year was over, so I didn't really get to like enjoy it throughout 2021. Sorry, 2020. So I'm putting it as one of my top purchases for 2021. Honestly, this color story is everything. You can honestly do almost anything, any look you can think of. If you want to do something more purpley, more pinky, you have that over here. You gotta do something more bronzy, you have this here. You have your pop of green, you have this really pretty like taupey shade, you have those duochromes, these two right here, duochromes, and it's honestly so pretty. I really enjoy this. I'm super glad I got it, and I got it on a huge discount. It's the first palette I've ever owned from ABH. I'm not necessarily inclined to buy anything else from ABH, at least not palette wise, and that's because I've heard that this formula is significantly better than everything else. And although I really love that color story and I can work with this, I do find the mattes a little bit hard to work with. Sometimes you just have to spend a little time blending more than I would want to. Nothing to say that there's anything wrong with it. I spent a little more time blending than I would have liked. So just because of that, I am gonna put it in that, you know, I like it, but I don't necessarily want to try anything else from them. But really enjoy it. In my pack 2 video, I think I'm also gonna take this one with me. I'm gonna take another palette. I just don't know what else I'm taking. For sure I'm gonna take this one. I'm still debating what my second palette is gonna be, but I always like to travel with 2 palettes at least. All right, so my favorite brand, I've said this before, is Los Angeles. They just can't do any wrong, and they totally got me with this blush palette. Look at this beautifulness. I technically didn't buy this. My sister bought it for me as a birthday present, but isn't this beautiful? Literally any shade you can ever think of. They're all matte blushes. You saw my Scott Barnes makeup for the first time. You would know that is my preference. I'm gonna link that below as well so you can check it out. This is my preference when it comes to blush formula. I like mattes, but I will say they're not dull or dry. Either they're matte, they have like a slight luminescence to it, and then she does have the highlighter here, so if you wanted to add a little bit of like that shimmer, you can just dab a little bit into the highlighter and make it into that. I'm debating whether I should take this with me or not because it is pretty bulky. It's a pretty big palette, but potentially. But every blush shade color combination that I want to create, I know I can create it with this palette right here, and I really like the formula. So there's that. I also mentioned that before I had this palette, my favorite formula was from Persona. Honestly, Persona and this palette are like neck to neck. They're both super good. The difference is that these are $20 a piece versus this one is $20 for one. And these shades are honestly quite dupeable to this. So I have the shade Caramel and I have this shade Georgia, and they're right here. I think this one right here is a pretty comparable shade to Georgia. It doesn't look like it in the pan, but there is there is a slight like pearlinescences to it, where there's like a slight light shimmer to it. And then Caramel and Caramel Cream right here are again super similar. It doesn't look like it too much on pan, but in the cheeks you really can't tell the difference between the two. So really enjoy those. But if you're thinking about getting these ones but you're kind of like, oh, I don't know about the price, you can get both of them essentially in this one palette for less of the money. So just putting that out there. All right, and then last thing is that I can definitely say that there was a bit of a gap in my makeup collection when it came to eyeshadows, specifically in pastels. I have a couple here and there, but I just didn't really get, like, I don't really have pastel shadows. So when they came out with this palette right here, which is the Erin Weaver and Los Angeles palette, I was super excited to get it because again, I just didn't have these tones. I just don't have them. I definitely do have the blue raspberry, and I have something very similar to mixed berry and something similar to roasted caramel as well as sugar mama, but everything else I didn't have anything quite like it. I honestly don't have anything quite like Sugar Mama either. I have something comparable to it, but not necessarily the same. But all this pastels, greens, blues, this, I probably do have something like Peach Ring. This pink strawberry, this duochrome spray here is so beautiful. I wish Los Angeles will come out with more duochromes because these two right here are game changers. They can honestly turn a look around. So really enjoyed it, and I don't feel like I have any gaps anymore in my collection. The one thing that I always knew I had was yellows, so I definitely have some yellows, and this is one color, it's not here. So everything that I did need, now I've got it. So I really enjoy it. It's really easy to use, surprisingly able to mix with other palettes really well. It's a bit more wearable, like everyday looks, and you can definitely tone this down to make some wearable looks as well. So I definitely enjoyed it. There's other things that I bought at the end of this year. For example, the items I bought from Scott Barnes. I bought my first Natasha Denona palette. I still haven't played with it because I want to film it, and I haven't had a chance to like really sit down and film and play with it. But I bought it at the very tail end of 2021, and I haven't really get to enjoy them. So if they are favorites for me, you will see that in next year's end of the year wrap-up series, because like I said, I haven't really had a chance to play with them properly. So that's everything that I have for you guys. Please do not forget to like and subscribe so you become a resident here of Vesterville. And if anything, just remember how pretty these are. If you forget everything at all, just remember, oh my god, look at that. Look at that. All right. Also, don't buy this. It's shit. Just putting that out there. Moving on. It's the end of it. It's really dark now. Like the sun's completely gone, so I'm super glad I stopped filming and like put the light on because it makes it a little better. It's a little dark, so definitely still needs some adjustment. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I can help with light. But that being said, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please comment because I love talking to you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.